Take a listen today to the Pipe Podcast with Dan, Jourdan, and I. We're talking about revenue growth today. What happens before, during, and after to make your company grow successfully. Take a listen.
For me, revenue growth, I remember I was doing business once with a car dealership.
Okay.
And revenue growth, actually for a salesman in a car industry. And this guy was doing great. He was selling, let's say hundreds of thousands or maybe $1 million worth of cars a month. Good revenue meant nothing to him. He was making $100 a car.
Right.
Because we were selling it just where it was. So I don't know what revenue growth means to me. It means something that VP of sales kind of like to look at, because they can see revenue growth. But at the end of the day, if you're a salesperson, you're much more concerned with what goes in your pocket.
Right. Because of the commissions and the way that structure is. And how many times have you, let me ask you this, Dan, how many times have you been in a position where you've had clear, defined goals before you even started the position, as you were going through the interview process, right? They clearly defined the goals to you. You knew exactly how your commission plan was going to work. You knew that you would need to sell X amount of dollars to make X amount of money. I mean, how many times have you ever interviewed or started with a company or even ran a company on your own where you had a clear understanding of what your compensation was going to be?
How many times?
Yeah.
4. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I've not.
Yeah. That's great. 4, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
People ask you that, what percentage, I always say 39%.
Right.
And the whole thing is, every, the most statistics are made up.
Sure.
Including that one.
Right.
So I just say anything. It doesn't matter. But, no, people obviously don't do that. I've not been on many interviews where I've gotten to that level where they start talking about commissions. Right. I do go on a lot of interviews, by the way. I apply for jobs regularly, and I go on interviews, which is fun, to get them to offer me a position, and just to keep my skills up. I think, by the way, it's a great thing. Salespeople, anybody out there, you need to be going on interviews all the time, just for fun. It's a sales. If somebody's interested in you, sure, have them make an offer. That's a sale. That's good for practicing your skills. But yeah, when it gets to the point where people start discussing commission plan, everything's fuzzy. Everything gets in the air, or you have 3 pages of deciding, if you sell this many in a month, then you get an extra spiff on the back end, and then you'll get a stuffed animal. But within that stuffed animal, you could win the President's Club if you get enough stuffed animals in a row. I mean, it's all fakaked. All I care about, you got to make it as simple as possible. Salespeople like it. And actually, sales management will like it a lot better too.
Yeah,
if people could understand it.
That's right.
And by the way, managers, I'm going to go on a tangent, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going on a tangent. The whole manager thing is kind of gone right now. I mean, everything's your CRM. Everything's on a dashboard. I can read a dashboard. Can you read a dashboard?
Yes.
Everybody can read a dashboard. This is what I'm doing this month. And so they have a manager every Monday morning. You have a manager meeting, and let's pull up all the statistics and all the dashboards, and they start reading to you. It's like you ever go to a conference and there's a speaker up there, a keynote speaker, and they put a screen behind you there, and you start. I'll put the screen behind here, and they start reading it to you. Like I could read. I don't need you to read me, these bullet points. That's what sales meetings are, because the managers are useless in terms of managing people. What they need to be, instead of being managers, they need to be coaches.
That's it. And because here's the thing, the tools that you're talking about, and the reason that I'm kind of not really making a complete leap from revenue growth and that being the ultimate goal for some organizations. But also, how does that play out within the role of the salesperson? And when you start to think about how does my piece of the puzzle, right, or my quota, for example, does that fit the compensation model that I'm expecting to achieve with this organization? Like, there are so many other components to how we gauge revenue, for an organization, whether it's actual just dollars, like you said. We can sell $1 million of something, but if it costs us $990,000 to produce that $1 million in sales, then we made $10,000, right? So it's just, I think that there's so many components to that, to when you're starting to talk about, okay, revenue growth, how your comp plan is set up for your salespeople to really incent them in a way that makes sense, and then also kind of what you're alluding to, which is, hey, I want to be able to make a positive impact with this organization. I want to be able to grow my own compensation.
Who are you speaking as? Are you the salesperson now?
I want to be successful, right? I don't want to be micromanaged, but I do want to make sure I've got the tools to get the job done, right? And so I think you're right. I think that the manager role has now moved a little bit south of micromanager to mentor and coach.
Yeah, there really is no need. Now, the VP of sales needs to look at numbers. VP of that person, whoever that is, that person needs to look at numbers and see what people are doing and all that. But you don't need 4 people to do the same thing. It's just, it's a click and you see it. But I coach all people all salespeople that are doing really well and that are offered that managerial position to turn it down. I'd be a manager. As soon as you become a manager, you've reduced your value to the marketplace. Because the one real value that people want is whether you're going to bring more revenue and more profit and more customers to the organization.
Right, but how are you going to do that, Dan? Like, how do you...
As the salesperson?
As the salesperson, I mean, let's give our one listener, a little something to chew on today, which is, how does Dan Jourdan, the master of business development, because I believe that you are. All right.
MOBD?
Yes.
Master of Business Development.
We're going to put that on your business card. So how does Dan Jourdan do that? Like, how do you actually go out and organically build a business? What are the things that you need to grow your revenue in the right way?
Yeah. Well, now, I think this is the same. I'm talking to business owners and salespeople who are looking at your career as if it's a business, which is the best way you can do it. So if you're a business owner and you need to hire somebody to do business development, you care about the business development. You don't really care about the person. You don't really care. You're not hiring a person. You're hiring a tool that's going to bring you more revenue. It sounds ugly, but that's what it is. So if you're the salesperson, don't care about the company. Don't care about your boss. You care about yourself, your business, your family, and you're looking at your job, the company that you're working for, as an income source for yourself. That's the way to look at it. And by the way, that makes everybody happy. If you succeed really well, the company is going to succeed really well, and they'll give you bonuses. The company secretly, they don't realize, managers don't realize this, business owners realize this, they want you as the salesperson to be selfish. They want you to do whatever you can to make it legally and ethically and according to the value systems of the company and the product and all that, to have good character. They want you to do it, but figure out a way. Be entrepreneurial in your career. Figure out a way to get a customer. When you wake up in the morning, that's your question. How do I get a new customer today?
Okay, so I get all that, and that's great information. but how do you do it? What do you do specifically, like throughout your day, to actually find new organic opportunities and build, your business?
Yeah, well, I see where you're going, and you're trying to get the tactical approach of what your daily exercise is going to be. And the fact is, you can really get that anywhere. Where it starts is the strategy, is in your head. Most people are very tactical, and they say, do this, do this, do this, do this. But without the strategy of going forth, going and to really exponentially grow your business. So when I'm talking about asking that question of yourself, how do I get a customer today? That's a vitally important first step. It gets your head thinking the right way.
So first, you should say, I'm going to get a customer today.
Well, okay, so that's in your head. Actually, first you need to say thank you. See, all business development and growing a business starts from a spirit of gratitude, and so it's just you just have to have that. You have to, because this way, once you have gratefulness in your heart and you have that, you're coming from the right place. Then when you're meeting people to ask them for business, it's not because you want to get the business for them. It's because you want to provide that service and provide that value. So working on your head is step one. You want to get new customers, get your head straight.
Okay.
Have that right product. And then you say, how do I get a new customer with your head? And you will come up with ideas.
But let's talk about that.
And if I see why I'm pushing back with giving you those ideas is because then they're mine. And then you're going to question whether or not they're right or wrong, or you say, oh, that works for you, it doesn't work for me, and you're going to have this whole debate with me being the enemy.
I like the debate.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm telling you that you have those answers in you. I mean, we have YouTube. You have the answers.
Sure, but here's the question: is let me ask you about this though. You said the first thing is the thank you and the getting your head straight, right? So help me understand what that means, because listen, I've got a big mortgage. I've got car payments. I've got real responsibilities. I've got a young child, and I've got two older children that I help to take care of. I mean, these are real things. Like this is not, we're not just talking about like just a couple things, out there that, I can live on $1,000 a month.
Right.
It's impossible. So I have real pressure, right? So when you're talking about getting your head straight, is that part of it? Is that part of it? Is making sure that, that thank you, and then also making sure you're in the right headspace, before you get out there and try to find new potential opportunities?
Yeah, of course. But it's not separate.
And how does Dan Jourdan do that?
Well, Dan Jourdan has his own methods of doing it.
Yeah.
But it's very detailed. I wake up each morning and I say thank you. I looked at this morning. I was having a conversation with somebody. I was at the office nice and early before the sun was rising. The sun happened to be rising when the person came in, and I looked at the sunrise and I thought to myself, got another chance to make this a great day. There's somebody, you can meet somebody today. This is how I psych myself up. You can meet somebody today that's going to change your life. This is a gift. I have this day. You know how many people are dead right now? Like billions of people are dead. They don't get to see this sunrise that I get to see. I got this chance right now. Now, I'm sharing that story with you.
Sure.
If you were a stranger, like this person was that I met this morning, and I shared that story with them, that was a 10-minute conversation. We started talking about his life. We started talking about my life. I said, listen, I have this little lake house and I see this sunrise. Sometimes I think it's a gift just for me. This person started talking about things, their spiritual affiliation, all this stuff. That person's a prospect. How did I get a customer today? How did I get a prospect today? Because I was working on myself and I was sharing those things. And if you start looking at that, so the more you can have conversations like that, the more people you talk to like that,
right,
the quicker, faster, more enjoyable your career becomes. Before you can be a great salesperson, first be a great person.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's magic.
It's magic.
It's where it comes from.
Right. Okay.
You know, and you get to learn. You get to learn new stuff every day. So so what does somebody need to do that has that terrific mortgage? First of all, think about that. You have a mortgage because somebody trusted you enough that your credit and your credibility was large enough that someone was willing to risk lending you hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, so you got to live up to that.
Right.
You just got to live up to that. So how do you do it? You know, that's why sales is the best. You can't do this anywhere else.
That's right. That's
I
right.
mean, it's not like you can get a job at you know, even construction and you're banging nails. There's just so many nails you can bang. There's so much dirt you can move. There's just so much time in a day, you know, getting a paycheck. But in sales, my gosh, every day. You want to talk about, you know, what changes everything is a new customer.
Yeah.
There's more revenue.
Yeah.
That's where it all starts from. So you wake up. So today you could be having and the market doesn't care what you did last month. You know, you say, "Oh, I'm building on." You know, the market doesn't know what last month was. The market doesn't know what yesterday was.
Right. That's right.
You know,
That's right.
You got yelled at yesterday,
Yeah.
and so it ruins your whole day.
Right.
Nobody knows. Sometimes you call somebody and they hang up on you. By the way, I had a call yesterday.
Oh no.
And, you know, usually, you know, sometimes to get my voice right, I make a bunch of cold calls and I don't really care. I'm just trying to get everything going. And I called this person. And if the phone rings like 4 times, I'm ready for the message. And so I'm not even thinking about the person coming. And so I talk to myself a lot. That's what I figured this person wasn't going to answer. And so on the 4th ring, out of something in my head, I started thinking about something. And just as the person answered the phone unexpectedly, out of my mouth came these words: "I think I really do have to go pee." Like, so he said, so the guy said hello, and I said, "I think I really do have to pee." You know, which is an inappropriate thing to say. You know, when someone says hello, you normally say.
I can honestly say I don't think I've ever
Yeah,
been addressed that way after I said hello to someone.
And so even the
Right.
world's best cold caller, I mean, I love it. Got flustered enough just to hang up, you know. But here's the thing,
Right.
after I went to the bathroom and I came back, the next call, they had no idea
There we go.
they had no idea what
happened.
Nobody knows anything. You get to in sales, you get to start over every minute of every day.
That's right.
It's glorious. It's freedom. It's as good as it gets. So revenue growth. Duh.
Right.
Okay? But it starts with getting your head straight and just making the commitment to share with more people.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you're reminding me about you know, my affirmations in the morning, what I go through, you know, my vision board.
You have affirmation?
Oh yeah.
Affirmation?
And
all across the nation. Do you memorize them?
I have a little cheat. I have a deck of cards, 52 cards, and each one has an affirmation on it. And I flip that for the morning, and then I read it to myself, and I just kind of think about that throughout the day. I start my day off with that. And then I've got kind of a miniature little vision board in my bathroom where I've actually taped, you know, pictures on my mirror of things that I'm striving for this year. And you're right. It's all about how do you start. And I think, you know, I thank God every morning as well. You know, when I wake up, and my father used to say, "My 2 feet hit the floor this morning, so it's going to be a good day."
I know.
You know, to your point of actually watching the sunrise and having the opportunity to see that again.
Yeah, I tell even as a kid, I used to love the birds. I would never I wouldn't go out drinking at night.
The movie The Birds, the one that attack the people.
I didn't watch that.
Oh yeah.
But it was terrible. They went after that girl, and she's running. I'm thinking, you know, how do you get away from birds? But they're little. You know, you could hit them if you had a
fast.
bat.
They're fast. They
fast
fly.
birds
You
now.
know, you need a tennis racket.
And they're
You need a
pecking
tennis
at you
racket.
like-
Tennis racket.
Did you used to do that with fireflies? We used to go out with wiffle ball bats at night and hit fireflies.
No.
And you never did that?
Yeah.
And there was always one kid who would bring like a racquetball racket, which was unfair because it was much bigger.
You capture them and put them in a little jar so they light up.
No, that's what
And
like Winnie the Pooh did. But
That's what we did. We didn't hit them with a thing.
You never took a firefly, threw it on the ground, and then scraped it and had that.
No.
You never did that?
No.
Where were you?
I put them in a.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
You were a nicer kid.
No, because of my sister, I think. Because my sister and I would go. So we never.
So my daughter.
Maybe if I was with a bunch of kids.
My daughter in
a bunch of bad boys that wanted to be destructive like your friends.
You know, like in second grade.
Yeah.
You would get one of the skills that you learn in second grade is how to turn a caterpillar into a butterfly. Yeah. Right. So everybody gets a little caterpillar, and you put it in a jar with a stick and some leaves, and it turns into the cocoon. Mm-hmm. So my daughter did this, and she loved this. This was like the greatest. You're looking forward to it all year. And there were 18 kids in her class, and so everybody had their own little butterfly thing. And Sophie really is very empathetic when it comes to animals. She feels, she knows exactly what's going on with everybody, and she's like an empath. She's very, very sensitive when it comes to these, as most kids are. And so she was there, and there was, it became a cocoon, and she was looking at it, and then finally it became the time where it started, coming out, and she was there, and she was watching the whole thing, and it was, fighting and all this stuff, and she said, I gotta help. Oh. And so she took a little pen and she opened it up a little bit, and then out came the butterfly and did its thing. Okay. And so then there was a special day that all the parents went to school. Mm-hmm. And it was the day that they were going to go to the field, and everybody was going to open their jars, and all the butterflies were going to fly in the air. And so there were 18 kids in the class, and so everybody was there. It was very exciting. And she opened up everybody opened up the jar, and 17 butterflies went into the air.
No.
And she's like, and turns out that when a crystal, what's it called? A crystallich or
chrysalis?
Chrysalis. Well, I made it Jewish. Crystallich is
that doesn't surprise me.
And turns out when they're climbing out of their cocoon, all that struggling and ripping and grinding and pushing and pulling and just getting out, the point of getting out of that thing
is to build,
is exactly the strength that they needed to survive. They needed to go through that struggle in order to survive and be able to fly. Mm-hmm. And in sales, you're going to get hung up on. You're going to get beaten up a little. You're going to get mocked. You're going to be embarrassed. It's going to hurt.
Right.
And that's exactly what you need.
Wow.
To succeed.
You know what? I'm stealing that story for myself. I'm gonna.
You won't say it as well, though.
No, I think I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to try and actually say it better than you did. But I'm going to use it with my middle daughter. But I'm going to use the same exact story. I'm just going to say it was me instead of you.
That's fine. Yeah, feel free. Who knows? I have so many stories that I've made up that I've turned into real. That may or may not have happened. I mean,
it may or may not. You may have done.
It's true. I go back to to family events, and I start talking to my sister about things. You remember this? She's like, that never happened. Yeah. She goes, where are you? But I've created an entire world for myself. I think that's why I'm pretty good in terms of getting new customers. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could easily, if people could hate my guts.
Yes.
And I created a story that, you know what, they're really nice. I think they like me.
But because you adapt well.
Yeah, just earlier we were walking out of that office,
right?
And I wasn't wearing the muzzle, and so somebody was walking in, and you told me, I just walked into the elevator, and you told me later that they gave me a dirty look.
Yeah, because you weren't wearing a mask.
Yeah, I had no idea. I'm clueless.
Yeah,
I'm clueless to things that make me feel bad. And I can invent, entire stories around it.
Well, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Well, okay. One last
thing.
So
what does that have to do about revenue?
No, I don't know, but it has a lot. It does have to do with sales, because I do believe that sometimes, using your words, I think sometimes you need to be clueless to the things that you feel are going to hurt you in your production, in in the way that you need or want to sell. And I think that there's a lot to that, Dan. I mean, I think that's maybe one of the reasons why you're kind of a Teflon Dan, right? Is that you have the ability not to take it personally, and you have the ability to make that next call and not really dwell on the past, but what's happening in the present and future.
Amen.